Well, we need to be talking about solutions as opposed to simply trying to erect impediments to progress. We've got a budget to run a country, and we need to find ways to make it work as opposed to find ways to derail it. And so, number one, I would be in favor of solutions and finding people that can work on practical resolution of disagreements so we can keep the country moving. When the country shuts down, when the government shuts down, the government's not doing its job. When the government's not doing its job, it hurts people that are dependent on government. Number one. Number two, when would I shut down the country? If I correctly understood, or the government, if I understood the second part of your question, I would want to shut the government down before we had to shut the country down. I do believe that the federal deficit does pose a long-term risk to the United States economy and our ability to operate efficiently as a nation. We have to find solutions to that before it becomes something that overwhelms us.
You've got to find 200 men and women with the courage to run this government in a way that has represented this country the way we do at home, with our businesses in the state, balancing the budget by, again, prioritizing what we need. What you saw with the government shutdown earlier was moving forward with continuing debt, continuing not to balance the budget, spending money. That's not what the citizens of this country, or I don't think the 6th Congressional District, are looking for. They're looking for making tough decisions to move this country forward. We cannot continue to saddle our children, our grandchildren with the mountains of debt. And so if we can't put forward once and for all solutions, we've got to stop some of the spending, which would mean stopping where we are with moving forward. That's what we've got to do, and that's what happened last fall. Was we didn't do what was right for the citizens of this country.
I think one of the first problems that happened with the government shutdown is that we were doing omnibus spending bills. And I think we need to step back and do the 12 appropriation bills appropriately, and going through them in that line item type fashion, and looking for waste, fraud, abuse, and duplication of services. And then you can start reining in the spending. So they're really, nobody wants a government shutdown. We have to find solutions, but it takes men and women to get up there and find those solutions by working together and fixing the problems.
Pass the budget. I think that the Republicans are going to win the Senate. I think they'll hold the House, and we'll need at least 218 votes in the House. I think we'll have more than enough. And Jeff Sessions will be the chairman of the Budget Committee, and we'll pass a budget. The thing that we've got to do, though, in passing the budget is we've got to start looking at what I said earlier about looking at these discretionary programs, eliminate the things that we shouldn't be doing, eliminate the duplications and inefficiencies, contract out some of these programs to the private sector if the private sector can do them, but as much as possible, where the programs are duplicated at the state level, bring them down to the state level. Because the best government, I think most of us would agree, is the government closest to the people, that's more transparent and more efficient in the use of the resources. But we shouldn't have to have another government shutdown, and the government has never shut down. I mean, parts of it have, but if we had a government shutdown, we'd know.
My entire campaign has been about that we do not have government of, by, and for the people in Washington, and we do not have a Congress that is functioning for the American people. I've been chalking it up to a political class in Washington, D.C., which profits by profits in the sense of entrenching its position by polarizing average Republicans, average Democrats, average independents, and the result is, with their extreme positions, you've got this default situation, and I have a idea and a plan. It is a long shot, but it is dire, and I do not see any of these gentlemen making a difference on it.
The next thing I would do, it goes back to your regulations that are impacting small businesses. It's the economic engine of America. What's happening is they continue to pass more and more legislation and spending money on issues that we don't need to spend money on. I shared this morning at the forum. They were talking about the turtle or tortoise, desert tortoise. Well, the cows and tortoises have been living together for 100 years. It's nuts what we're spending our money on. Well, how would I avoid that shutdown? I would want to say these are the cuts that we have to have. These are the cuts we have to enact, headed towards a balanced budget. If they didn't go towards a balanced budget, I would vote to shut down the non-essential government, because at some point you have to bring the progressive Democrats to the table. And that is the only way I believe that you can do it.